Thought I'd do a quick, well, say quick, as quick as it can be, I suppose, editing video for some images I took in Corfu last year. It's just a mixture of like street photography and landscapes. It's just trying to deal and edit with, you know, the high dynamic range scenes, whether it be harsh light, shadows, you know, the different lighting conditions you will encounter depending on where you're going, obviously. But just thought I'd do an editing video, just do maybe 3 or 4 images just to go through. I'll try and keep it as short as I can, but with editing, you could be sitting there for an hour and next minute, you know, it's like half the day is gone. So I'll try and keep it as short as possible, but grab a drink, sit down, relax, and we'll go through a few images. Okay, so we'll jump straight into this one. It was sort of mid-afternoon, the sun was just about to go down, so the sun's coming in from the right-hand side. So what I want to do is try and accentuate the sun coming in from that right-hand side. The histogram, we're not clipping, but to me the white church or white building, it's a little bit too bright, it near looks overexposed. So first off, what we'll do is remove chromatic aberration and profile corrections. You can set that to automatically apply once you import your images, but I just haven't set that up. But okay, and then what I find is very important is the profile. It can make such a difference. Now you can either change it right up front, or again halfway through that, or at the end, just to see, you know, the final result and the effect it has. But Adobe Color, so I depend on the scene. I think landscape, it's just boosted the shadows. It's a bit more saturated, I think, compared to Adobe Color, but it's not a bad starting point. So we'll start there. Highlights, again, I'm just going to bring it down, just so you can bring it back some detail, you know, in the shadows and you know, the marks on the walls and the bells and stuff. I think it definitely looks better than just looking overexposed. So we'll start there. We'll drop a little bit of contrast in. Clarity and texture, we'll come back to that. So what I'll do now is jump right down to the bottom to calibration, and we'll just warm it up a little bit to start. So again, you can check your progress before and after, so that's not too bad. We don't want to go too far with that. Again, the reds, you don't want to change it too much because it's going to have an effect on the top of the building and also on the tree here on the left hand side. So I might just leave red for now. Blue's going to have a huge effect, again, on the reds, oranges, and obviously the sky. So we don't want to go too far with it either at the moment. So we'll go there. It does look a bit harsh, but we will tweak it in the HSL slider. So green primary, let me see, I think around there somewhere. Saturation I'm not too worried about at the moment, because I say we will be changing it and tweaking it within the HSL. Color grading, I'm not going to touch this at the moment. Very rarely, it depends again on the scene if it requires that tweak or not. But we'll go into HSL. So hue, again, start with the reds. Again, I'm gonna keep it, I'm gonna lift it a little bit because I don't want that looking too garish. Oranges, yeah, it's gonna make a big difference. We'll just leave it as is now. Yellow, we're gonna bring it down. Green, I'm gonna bring it down a bit. So I'm looking at the grass, instead of like a, you know, a real vibrant green, I want it more of like a sunburnt, sun-kissed type of, you know, Mediterranean grass, if you like. See them on the olive tree, but we'll get into that in a moment. Blues, aqua, again, there's not a whole lot. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Obviously the blue will, because the sky's a good portion of the image. I'm just going to leave it there. Again, it does look a bit crazy at the moment, but we'll go back to it. It's saturation, so again, we can drop straight down to the blue and just take it down about there at the moment. Green, it shouldn't affect it too much apart from, because we've already tweaked the green, so it hasn't done too much there. Yellow, again, I'm going to bring it up a bit. Orange, a little bit, but again, just being wary of the areas on the tree and the top of the building. It's not too bad. Luminance, this has a a large effect on parts of the image. So again, we'll bring the sky down a little bit. Green, again, because we've tweaked the green, there's not a whole lot to play with there. Yellow, it should just boost it up a bit, and orange as well. So yeah, that's the foreground. Red, again, I don't want to mess too much with it. That should be fine, because again, the sun is hitting the top of the building and just the front side there. So again, we'll check before, after, before and after. So the sky's still not where I want it to be at the moment, but we will come back to that. So at the moment then, this tree, again, I know the sun's coming in from the right hand side, but it's very dark, so we want to lift the shadows. In fact, we'll just lift the shadows of the entire image, just maybe a bit there. But then we'll grab our masking tool, and we'll go radial gradient, and we'll make it quite large. So it's just to try and accentuate where the sun's coming in from the right hand side. There we go, that should be fine. I don't want it coming too much on the church. And again, we will lift the shadows. So again, you're revealing more detail within the olive tree, the trunk, and the leaves as well. Exposure up a bit. And we'll also warm it up a tad. There we go. Now, I don't really want it to, you know, have a glow around it with the sky. So this is where Lightroom is fantastic with this masking and just tweaking, taking out bits that you don't want to affect. So color range, and obviously minus, so we're taking it away. We're just gonna color drop there, and then you can see it's just masking off the tree and obviously the building there, but it's not touching or affecting the blue at all. So that's perfect. Obviously you can refine it if you need to. So I think we'll go a bit further with the actual effect. I'll lift it a bit. Again, we don't want to go too crazy, but yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's do a quick before and after. Okay, I don't want to look into HDR either, so we can drop the shadows down a little bit more contrast. Okay, and again, we want to address the sky, so we're going to go back down to our saturation. Blue is going to take it down again, and not too much, maybe about there. Again, personal preference. Some people like deep blue skies, light blue skies. It's just personal preference. There we go. Now we will have a look at our clarity and texture. I never like to increase both at the same time because it can go very, very garish very quick, and that's insane. So it either increase one and, you know, reduce the other depending on which we go for. So I think clarity will add a little bit, and I'll also take the texture down. Again, it's just going to soften those grass areas and the tree, so it's a nice soft effect. You know, it's not harsh in your face. You know, you want it to be quite soft. There we go. So we're not too far away, I don't think. And we'll go to our tone curve and just have a look here as well. I'll just add a little bit in. Again, I'm just keeping an eye on the histogram just to make sure this doesn't pop out. Okay, subtle change. Go. Sharpening. You can sharpen in Lightroom. I mean, I suppose I do most of my sharpening within Photoshop, but the sharpening tool is quite good because you can mask off. So if you can increase your sharpening, but then if you hold Alt on the Windows keyboard, then you can refine it. Obviously we need to take the dust spots out as well, so you can just bring that up, and it's just the edges, you know, it'll just give a little bit of a pop to it. So that'll do. And we will go to the dust spots. So it's F13, so you're always going to get dust spots popping into your image, but so this is good too. usually whenever it's set to sort of 50% default, which again you can't see the dust spots here, but what you need to do is just increase this slider, and that's going to show the true, you know, areas where the dust spots are. So that's definitely a handy tool, so you don't miss any. There's nothing worse than getting a print and seeing a big dirty dust spot on it. Okay, there we go. And what we'll do then is jump into Photoshop just to finish it off. Okay, so yeah, that looks grand. There's a few tweaks again. I would usually sharpen it here, but we have already sharpened it, so we need to do that. I would go into levels. Again, it's pretty well balanced. I don't really want to increase the exposure, but I find levels is really good for just tweaking the color. So again, just depending on what the final effect you want to be, you can add a bit more green in, but in this case, or a bit more blue. So you can change the blue. So yeah, even that subtle tweak is just change the blue, and that's a lot more pleasing to the eye, I think. Green, again, that's fine there. It's not too bad, I think. So 1 is your starting point. I don't want it too warm. 1 or 2 points, I find, makes a lot of difference. I think I'll just leave that. 2, 1 even. Reds. I don't know whether it might take some red out of it. Okay. It's not too bad there actually. So again, you're leaning more into the green where we took it out to start. That'll do. So again, subtle change, but it's just tweaking the image. And again, if you find you've went too far, you can, you know, go back to default if you like. In fact, I might add a bit more red in there because it's just taking a bit of warmth of the sun away, which you do not want. Okay, just before and after, before and after. Again, it's subtle changes. So there we go. Again, I would just add a little bit of dodge and burn. Not a whole lot, to be honest. I mean, it would hardly, it's just being pernickety really, but just to finish it off, I would just duplicate the mask. And again, it's set at mid-tones exposure 12% because you don't want to go too crazy with it. I just want to bring out a bit more of the trunk, a bit more detail on that. And a little bit just on those leaves. Again, I'm just going fairly quick and rough over this. Again, you just off and on. Just gives that a little bit of pop, just to finish it off. There we go, before and after, before and after. Again, I don't want to increase it too much because your eye's going to be drawn straight to the tree rather than, you know, the old church in the middle, I suppose. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that one. So we will go back and have a look at this street scene. So again, this is just a run and gun snap. It's quite underexposed. We're at f2.8, 34mm, 1/1250th of a second, and ISO 250. So our guy here is in the shadow. So again, we'll scroll down and just do our corrections first. It's fine. Again, I might just leave the profile until further through the edit, just so you can see the difference midway through. So straight away, I'm going to increase the exposure, maybe about a stop, just over a stop. I'm just going to bring the highlights down because it's blown out just at the very center there at the back. So bring it down a bit there, that seems fine. Shadows we'll bring up a little bit, just so we can see our wee mate here in the middle of the frame. Up the whites a little bit. Blacks I'm going to leave for now. I'm going to drop in some clarity. Okay. And again, down we go to our calibration. And again, have a look. I think I'm going to go for like maybe a retro sort of filmic look on this one. So instead of warming it up, we're going to drop it down, you know, play with the greens and the yellows more. Okay, I'll do just quick little tweaks. Again, the blue always has the most dramatic effect, I find. There we go. Again, I'm not going to play with the colour grading, I don't think. Okay, that's not too bad, but drop it down a bit. I'll leave the orange as it is. Increase that. Green, there's not a lot of green, it's just in the matte and the bush at the back. So you do have to be careful if there's very little of one colour in the scene, you know, that you don't overlook it and it just looks, you know, really unnatural like that or something. So we'll leave that as it is. Again, the blues, there's not a whole lot of blue in there either, we'll just leave it alone. Saturation, and we're fine. That's not what I want to do too much with that, that'll do. Leave it there. Again, there's not a whole lot of green there. Blue, there's not a whole lot of blue either. Luminance, again, it's going to have a big effect. I'm going to lift that up so you can see just a bit more of the texture in the walls there. Go greens, yeah, lift it up a wee bit. Blue, again, it's more just the sky, but I don't want that because that's just crazy. So just leave it as it is, I think. And then we just do before and after, before and after. And I will have a quick look now at the color profile. So that's Adobe Color Landscape. So again, you can see that that's a brave difference there. You know, it's definitely more saturated, and the shadows have lifted up or increased there. So yeah, that's grand. Adobe Landscape is probably the most profile that I would use the most, actually, because I find it just gives you the best results. But again, personal preference, depending on the scene. So what we'll do now is get a few masks on. So first off, objects, we're gonna mask off our little friend here. There we go. Again, these Lightroom masks are fantastic. Again, that's brilliant, straight on him. Again, I don't want to lift them up too much because he's going to be, you know, too unnatural. White. Also fine if you do lift it up too much, it's not too bad. Drop a little bit of contrast in it, just brings it back a little bit. So that seems fine to me. I'm going to grab a radial gradient. Okay, I'm going to drop it about there. So I think I'm going to invert this and just obviously bring the exposure down a bit so your eye's drawn right into the middle here. I don't want to take it down too much. And again, you can add another radial. And I'm just going to drop it down here a little bit. I'm just going to increase the exposure again just a little bit. So it's just trying to accentuate the light that's coming down there and it's flooding in through this street here, and maybe just, you know, bouncing off the wall if you like. So that's why we're putting this on here. Again, you could probably put, have a look, linear gradient at the bottom if you wish, just to darken the foreground a wee bit. Again, that's not too bad. And what I will do, to me that's too striking. It catches your eye straight away rather than, you know, this guy or what's going on in here. So I'm just going to crop it in a little bit. I don't mind a little bit. in the scene. Try that. Yeah, that's fine. So just obviously you can see he's at a tavernier or whatever it is. There we go. Yeah, the skin tones, they're not too bad. Sometimes when you're doing all this editing, it can just funk up the skin tones. Again, we'll do a quick before and after of the total edit. So that's before and after. So you can see it's definitely, well, we needed to increase the exposure anyway, but there we go. And now what I will do also, because we're going for like a filmic look, I'm going to add some film grain. So we'll go down to effects, grain. Again, I find just about 50, not even 50, is enough. Again, you can have a look. It depends, again, personal preference, how much you want. The size, that has a major difference in like the clarity of the image. So like if I increase that, you know, it's adding a lot of blur to it. Again, depending on the effect you want to go for. I'm going to keep it maybe about 27 or so. And roughness, again, personal preference. Just keep it about 50. So again, we could just toggle it off and on, off and on. I might actually increase it a little bit more. So we'll jump it up to about 66. Let me see, before, after. There we go, so that's not too bad. So we haven't done a whole lot to it really. I mean, we could darken the edges down a little bit more, so we'll find, it's that one. Drop the blacks down a little bit, that's not bad. Contrast a little bit. There we go, so that'll do that, and we will then edit in Photoshop. There we are. Okay, so again, in Photoshop you can see more of the grain coming through there. Again, you can see the detail on the wall and just the general color. So again, I'm gonna put sharpen on, or smart sharpen, I should say. I'll go down here. I know we've already put grain on it, but it's just the smallest bit. So 83%. Again, it's just a little bit, just taking the lens blur off. So I think by default it's set to Gaussian blur, but I find lens blur gives a better effect. Again, you can experiment with different scenes, different images, and see what you think. But there we go. And again, we're going to jump into levels. Again, we're fine now, it's more of a balanced exposure, but we're going to have a look at the colors. I'm going to take the blue out. So we're bringing more of the green, more of the yellow in, which gives it more of that sort of old film type look. Again, don't want to go too far. So again, there and there. Bring this down a bit. I'm actually take this up a bit more. Because again, skin tones, he's getting a bit too yellow there. Okay. Greens. So I mean, you could go far with it, but again, maybe 1 or 2 points is enough, I find. Okay, red. Okay, so overall, before, after. So yeah, that seems fine to me. And we'll put a bit of a curve on it, I think. Just to darken it down a touch. Don't want it too contrasting. Okay, that's not too bad. Again, you could go whatever way you want with it, but we'll just keep it there for now. And then we'll just do a quick bit of dodging and burning, and that's pretty much us done. So I'll just duplicate the layer. Put the dodge tool, mid-tones, exposure 12%, because you don't want to go too crazy with it. Again, I'm just going to bring out a bit more detail in the wall, just up here. Just a little bit. I don't want to touch or remake too much, because again, he's going to start looking very unnatural and the skin tones is just going to blow out. So I think that's fine. Okay. There we go. And again, you can just before and after. That seems fine to me. So yeah, that will be that one done. So we've 2 done for now, and I'll jump into another one. There we go. So this one, again, it was run and gun, just seeing these group of nuns. I don't know, what do you call a group of nuns? A clouder of nuns? That's a cat. It's a group of cats. I don't know, a group of nuns anyway. They were going into this, obviously, this wee old church or chapel down the side street, and they just happened to catch my eye. So it was an f3.2, 67mm, so it could have been like, doing with a 100mm or something like that, just to punch in a bit. But what we'll do straight off the bat is, well, obviously do our corrections. I'm going to crop, and I don't crop too much really, but on this one I think it does need it, and I'm going to take advantage of the Sony A7 IV or A7R4, their 60 odd megapixel sensor, so I'm going to bring it down quite a lot. See, that looks crazy, but that looks a lot better than before. There we go, let me just double check here. Yeah, that should be fine. I'll lift it up a little bit maybe into there. There we go. So that, you still cropping in quite a bit, but you've still plenty of resolution and stuff to play with there. So on this one, let me see. Again, Adobe Color. We'll have a look at the landscape. Yeah, again, straight away, that's made a good difference. I want to bring out the detail within the habit, I think that's what you call them, of the nuns here. So we'll just generally lift the shadows up, add a little bit of contrast, take the blacks down a little bit. I'm going to add some clarity in. There we go. So I'm not sure, it might go black and white with this one. I'm not 100% sure, but what we'll do is, like, it is quite well balanced exposure, so I'm going to add some masks straight away. So we're going to objects, and we'll try and mask off these ladies here. There we go. See, that's absolutely perfect. Imagine the old days trying to draw around that and refine edges and all the rest of it. Like, it's AI, it is very good, but it could easily be a problem at the same time. But that's a whole different story. Okay, shadow. So we're going to lift it up. Although again, I don't want to go too far, but it just brings out more detail within the uniform, I would say. And then again, I'm going to add a bit more clarity. Go. Grab another radial and place it about here maybe. I'm gonna invert it, so it's adding your own sort of custom vignette. I find I don't like using just like the standard vignette. I do like to just invert a radial mask and just do my own. So we'll bring this down quite a bit. Not that far. But again, it's just drawing your eye right down the alleyway and onto the nuns and the door there. So I'm gonna grab another one. Again, I'm trying to look where the light's coming in. So it is naturally darker here. So I'm just gonna accentuate that with linear mask. Just gonna bring that down a little bit. There we go. Blacks. Contrast. Bring the whites down a little bit. There we go. So again, if you go a quick before and after, you know, it's a lot better straight off the bat. Obviously we've cropped down a good bit as well, but And that's before we even touch colors. So we can go down now. Again, it might work better black and white, but we'll have a look at the colors first off. Again, you can go a real heavy edit on the colors, depending on what look you want to go for. Okay. It's not too bad there. Again, that's just, always start with the calibration as a base. And then obviously you can tweak it within the HSL and color grade. So I might actually have a look at this now. We'll look at the shadows. So I might keep the shadows quite cool. Maybe something like that. Again, you're wary of the, you know, the uniforms, the door and stuff like that. So that's fine there. Mid-tones. Again, I'll probably go the opposite end of the scale, more of like an orange, just to keep in line with the wall and the color of the brickwork. Highlights, again, I don't think I want to touch that. I just want it as it is. Maybe lift it up. No, just leave it as it is. Okay. Again, HSL. And again, you can go through all this as much detail as you want. You can spend an hour on it and then decide it does look better in black and white, but again, that's just, it's just the way it goes. I don't want that too red. Yellows, bring it down. Green, there's not a lot of green again on the scene. Blue, again, that's going to affect the wall. I do like that door, that green. I'm not too sure about the nuns, but again, we could go through on our selection and change that. See, reds, orange, we'll lift a wee bit, yellow, green. Again, you can increase the blue or take it out, whatever you want. I think I'll increase it because I do want the door, you know, more of a blue. Again, there's other ways you could do it. You know, we could mask it off and just do it, but I think I'll just go back to your selection and take out the blue on the nuns. So luminance, I'm not sure if I want, we'll lift it a little bit. Yeah, we don't want to blow that out. Greens, again, there's not a whole lot. Again, the blue, actually lift the blues a little bit. Again, quick before and after, before and after. So yeah, that's quite a bit of a difference to obviously the initial image. Again, some before and afters. Before and after. There we go. And again, you can add green if you want to. I don't know. Well, yes, we'll go back into our selection here. And again, there's different ways you can manipulate the color. You could, you know, bring it up, bring the yellows up and take it out of the greens, but you don't want the skin. There's some skin tones there you don't want to mess with. Saturation, you could take it down a little bit or a lot. I think that'll do it actually. Or point color. Let me see, we want to take that again. We go down there, up in here too. Again, it just gives that separation from the door and the nuns going in. So there we go. I think that's it in Lightroom for now. Again, you could play with the color through the tone curve or just the general contrast highlights. It's fine. Okay. I will actually have a look at it. Black and white, so it is like, well, obviously it's the color manipulated there, but it's not too bad either. I don't know if I'm going to add green to it or not. I don't think so. And again, sharpening, I'll just do the sharpening in Photoshop. I'm not too fussed. I'll just, you know, mask in areas of sharpness. So yeah, we will edit in Photoshop. Okay, so here we are. Again, that's looking well. I mean, first off, again, we'll drop in some sharpening, smart sharpen, and we'll just have a look. So, and this one we'll increase it 155. That seems about right. Again, you can see on the door the detail you're bringing out there. There we go. And then we will have a look at the levels. Okay, we'll drop into the blues. There we go, and warm it up, just take some of the blues away. Again, you can find it'll counteract some of the work you've done in Lightroom, but again, it just depends what. You can change your mind if you want. It's your image, it's your style, whatever you want to go with. So, yeah, I do like the warmer image actually. We'll go with that. Blue, green. I'll leave that maybe there. Okay, and red. Again, you can just take a little bit out. Go, and then we'll go before and after, before and after. Yeah, that seems fine. We will do a bit of dodging and burning, so I'm just going to duplicate the layer. Again, it should be on your mid-tone exposure 12%. And we'll just go in here. Also on the door, and actually up here, that's, increase that as well. It's just bringing out those fine details. Okay, you don't want to go too crazy with it, but I don't really like to burn too much, because to me it's not. It does look quite artificial, to be honest. Again, let's just give that a little bit of a boost. Just make those little bits pop. And there we have it. Again, we'll have a look at the black and white version and see what we think. But black and white. See, black and white's very nice as well, and that's just default. I think that's a bit harsh maybe. Again, you could go something crazy dramatic. That's not too bad. Like a high contrast blue filter, you can, you know, play around with that. But it's quite dark and moody and contrasty. The red, obviously, it's going the other way. Lighter, maximum black again. That's quite nice. And again, if you went for the black and white there, you could then go back and add a bit more, you know, dodging just to increase those areas again. It just depends what your style is and what you want your final image to look like. So, again, where's that? I do quite like that, but obviously it's a little bit mad. Take it back a little bit. So again, we'll look at the before and after, before and after. And yeah, I actually think I prefer the black and white. So again, after all of that, all the color manipulation, again, we're going with the black and white. But that's what I mean. Whatever, unless you have a predetermined edit in your mind of what you want this image to look like, which I find I don't. Most of the time it's get it into Photoshop, get it into Lightroom, have a look at where the the light source is coming in from, the colors you have there. If it's quite muted, then possibly black and white, or what you want to lean into. But again, just goes to show you, like, again, you might work with the colors and then bring it in, convert it to black and white, and it does look a lot better. So each to their own. But again, most of the work I try to do is 90-95% in camera rather than, you know, in Lightroom or post-production, because it's not something I enjoy that much, to be honest. But each to their own, I would say. Also got this little rascal. It's a 7 Artisans quarter black mist filter. I've been looking up for one of these for a while now. Of a bit of a project coming up, doing a bit of filming for a local company. So I thought it'd be good for, you know, the nighttime shoots. The next couple of weeks anyway, I'll be heading away. Not on a dedicated photography trip, but with the good lady wife, going to Italy, around Venice, Florence, Tuscany and Rome, a couple of days in each, driving around. So yeah, hoping to get obviously a few images and maybe some drone footage as well in Tuscany. I have looked at a few videos of Tuscany. The only thing that puts me off is obviously the honeypot locations. There's about 50 plus photographers at any one spot in, say, in the morning for sunrise or whatever. That put me off straight away. Nothing against honeypot locations, absolutely not. They're, you know, popular for a reason, but the thought of standing lined up with 50 other photographers getting the exact same image or you know, variation of, it just doesn't inspire me, to be honest. So I just hopefully, again, run and gun around the countryside, street photography, just see what I can get, go with the flow, and hopefully get some footage along the way. But yeah, stick with us for that, and I should have hopefully a few videos coming up.